Welcome to the Top 5 Gainers and Top 5 Losers analysis for March 28, 2019, Thursday. Even though this is for March 28, I'm going to give you coverage including March 29th data as trading happens. So I'm going to give you an analysis for these 10 stocks as trading happens. Okay, I hope that's cool. So let's begin with JEO. Okay, so I'm going to talk about JEO, Web, X, TUGS, IS, TEL, RRHI, MWC, SCC, and ZHI. For the first timers of this Top 5 Gainers and Top 5 Losers analysis video, I'd like to give you a general piece of advice. If you would like to do a dividend play, what do I mean by that? If any of these 10 stocks have a dividend announcement, you can check that on edge.pse.com.ph, by the way. Again, if any of these 10 stocks have a dividend announcements and you'd like to know if you will receive dividends, if you will buy or sell on, before, or after the ex-dividend date, here's your guideline. If you're going to buy shares of a dividend issuing company before the ex-dividend date, and you will keep those shares at least until the ex-dividend date, then you will still receive dividends. However, if you're going to buy shares of a dividend issuing company either on or after the ex-dividend date, then those are no longer entitled for the dividends. Now, if you're going to sell shares of a dividend issuing company before the ex-dividend date, you will not receive dividends for those shares. However, if you're going to sell either on or after the ex-dividend date, then you will still receive dividends for those shares. Okay? Memorize that part. And you can tell everyone, you can tell those people who are asking about the same question. Okay? So you can help me educate other people as well. Now, let's move on to the chart of JEO. JEO Grace Resources Philippines Incorporated, or GEO for short. Its last price is at 0.295. It's a little bit higher than the previous resistance at 0.29, which is now acting as the immediate support, by the way, and the previous support was 0.2381. The current resistance is at 0.335, and the volume in the first half of today's trading is almost just a few points away from being equal to its 10-day volume average. So that gives me a bearish sentiment on JEO Grace as far as the color of the candlestick and the size of the volume are concerned. The volatility score is already at 82%. That gives JEO what do you think? A high risk level. MACD remains above the signal line. You cannot expect the MACD line to bend and cross below the signal line with just a 1 day worth of red candlestick. So I think JEO has to register maybe 3 to 4 red candlesticks, depending on the bearishness, for MACD to turn bearish, meaning to say for it to cross below the signal line. Okay, I'm not praying for that to happen. I'm just telling you the possibilities or the prerequisites, let's say, so to say, on how or when will the MACD cross below the signal line. Okay. Now let's take a look at the range that got the biggest volume and the highest number of trades for JEO. Okay. Its last price of 0.30 is the middle of today's intraday high and intraday low. So there's no percentage change yet. It's at 0%. Anyway, the range that got the biggest volume and the highest number of trades is between 0.30 all the way to 0.315. My overall sentiment, I think I mentioned that a while back, it's bearish. Okay. For those of you who managed to catch the crossing of the MACD line above the signal line when was that? Last March 27. Make sure that you know where your trailing stop loss is. Make sure you know where it is. Activate it. Sell once it gets hit. Now, if you don't have JEO yet, my recommendation is that you wait for a pullback below 0.29. consider the idea or entertain the idea of doing a test buy if this scenario happens, or if you see this scenario on the bid ask, on the volume review of JO. What is it? If the range that got the biggest volume and the highest number of trades is parked, registered, printed, whatever verb is appropriate. If it's printed near or closer to the intraday high than the intraday low, then consider doing a test buy within that range. But if the range that got the biggest volume and the highest number of trades is registered closer to the intraday low than to the intraday high, please postpone the idea of doing a test buy. Be more patient and wait some more for perhaps a bigger pullback. Okay? Okay, now let's move on to the other stock. We have Web. Perhaps if you're going to listen to my videos every day for 1 year, after a year, you should be able to trade on your own. Yeah? Okay, now Web's last price is at 2.72. Support is at 2.54. Resistance is at 2.91. The volume, the first half of trading is already a few points shy below the 10-day volume average. MACD remains its position above the signal line. Volatility score is at 58%. That gives Web a moderate risk level. The net foreign investor sentiment for 2019 is, it's a net foreign selling. How did I say so? It's because there are more bars, more net foreign trade bars pointing to the south than to the ones pointing to the north. So the ones pointing to the south are, guess what? Net foreign selling. Okay. Now let's take a look at the range. 2.72 is closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. The range that got the biggest volume and the highest number of trades is parked between 2.65 to 2.75. It's closer to the intraday low. Do you still remember what I said a while back? Memorize that. Okay. My overall sentiment is bearish for Web. If you bought Web near 2.5, respect your trailing stop loss, please. Okay, do yourself a favor by respecting your trailing stop loss. If you don't have Web yet, wait for a pullback near 2.54. Can I talk to the relatively young or new investors, new traders here, not investors, but traders, okay? Stick with the buy on support to begin with, just for a start, while you are still in the process of learning the ropes of short-term trading on your own, okay? You buy near support for now, okay? You can entertain or try the buy on breakout strategy maybe as you gain experience and discipline, especially, okay? So that's my overall sentiment and recommendation for Web. Next one is Surpass. Okay, Surpass's last price is at 1.16. Support is at 1.05. Resistance is at 1.31. The volume, the first half of trading is below 50% of the 10-day volume average. So I don't see any panic selling here, volume-wise. MACD remains bearish. I don't see any sign of a formation of any bullish convergence with the signal line. So that's a bearish signal. Meanwhile, X has a high risk level. It has a volatility score of 75% already. The 2019 foreign investor sentiment is, let me make sure, bearish. Okay, it's a net foreign selling year to date 2019. Now, 1.16 is closer to the intraday low. Take note. The range that got the biggest volume and the highest number of trades is between 1.15 to 1.17. My overall sentiment for X is bearish. Those of you who have been trading X should have already exited by now. Not just now, but a few days ago already. Okay? It's very risky it's very, if you still have surpass, it was a wrong entry because surpass has been a downtrend channel since when? Since the second week of February. And I did not see any confirmation, any confirmed buying entry since then. Okay, volume wise, MACD wise, 10 SMA wise. Okay, wait for a pullback near 1.05. Okay, it's a bearish sentiment for surpass. Now next we have TUGS, TUGS, Harbor Star Shipping Services, or TUGS. How did they get TUGS from Harbor Shipping, Star Shipping? Anyway, that's not my agendum. Okay, TUGS. TUGS's last price is at 3.04. Support is at 2.74. Resistance is at 3.56. The price is also moving below the 200-day SMA, although it's moving above the 10 SMA and 50 SMA. This red candlestick came with a red volume that's already above the 10-day volume average. Meanwhile, MACD remains above the signal line. Okay. TUGS has a low risk level. It has a volatility score of 43%. The net foreign investor sentiment for 2019 year to date is net foreign selling, bearish. Okay, now let's take a look at the voluminous and most traded range. 3.04, its last price is closer to the intraday high, huh? It's closer to the intraday high, although it's red already, than to the intraday low. Anyway, the range that got the biggest volume and the highest number of trades is parked between 2.97 to 3.05. 2.97 to 3.05. That range is closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. I hope you still remember what I said a while back when you should only consider doing a test buy. When? When the most voluminous and most traded range is parked closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Okay? I'm already like a parrot here, repeating over and over again those important reminders. I do hope you have memorized those important stuff already by now. Okay? My overall sentiment for TUGS is neutral to bullish. Neutral to bullish. Make sure you're just on top of your trailing stop loss. If you don't have a position in TUGS yet, wait for a pullback near where? Near the intersection between the 10 SMA and 50 SMA. And where is that? Near 2.90. Is it okay to buy near 3? It is okay for as long as the most voluminous and most traded range is closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Okay? For the relatively newbie traders, what did I say a while back? Be content with the buy on support strategy for now, not forever, but just for now, okay? All right. Next, IS. Island Information and Technology, a technology stock. IS's last price is at 0.132, resistance is at 0.15, support is at 0.12. The price is still moving above the 10 SMA and the 200-day SMA, but the 50 SMA is hovering the 10-day simple moving average. Therefore, IS is still not moving inside the perfect bullish channel. Why? Because the 50 SMA should be moving below the 10 SMA. The 10 SMA is the green line. 50 SMA is the red. 200 is the blue line. Moving averages. Anyhow, MACD is still moving above the signal line. Historical volatility is at 71%. That makes Island Information or IS as a high risk stock. The volume in the first half of trading is already moving above the 10-day volume average. So we have a red candlestick and the volume bar is above the 10-day volume average. That's a bearish intraday sentiment, price and volume wise. Okay? The foreign investors sentiment for 2019 year to date is net foreign selling, bearish. Now, its last price of 0.132 is the intraday low as well. And the most voluminous and most traded range is parked between 0.132 all the way to 0.141. It's almost like the entire all of the price points that have been traded today. So meaning to say, volume seems to be evenly distributed today. Let's make that 0.133 all the way to 0.138. 0.133 to 0.138. I have revised. Okay, there you go. My overall sentiment for IS remains, well, I'm still neutral to bullish if we are to consider what happened in the past few weeks. But if you're going to judge IS based on what has just happened from 9:30 this morning up until this very moment that I'm speaking, then it's a bearish one. But if you're going to consider what happened in the past, how long? About the past few weeks, okay? This March, and it's still bullish, neutral to bullish, not completely bullish. Okay, even though I'm neutral to bullish on IS, please, 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 please activate your trailing stop loss once it's hit. If you don't have IS yet, wait for a pullback. Where? Near the support at 0.12. If that happens, ideally speaking, yes. But if it touches or pulls back near 0.1, where is it? 0.127, entertain the idea of doing a test buy there if the downtrend in price or the volume of the red candlestick seems to have subsided already, meaning to say, if the price goes down to 0.127 level, the red volume bar should be at least 50% below, not above, below the 10-day volume average. Why? What's up with 50% below the 10-day volume average? If you see a red candlestick and the volume bar is 50% below the 10-day volume average, that means to say the selling sentiment has sort of come down already, has relaxed a bit already. Meaning to say, those who really wanted to sell IS, their shares on IS, may have already sold already those shares that they really wanted to sell. So it was a bearish exhaustion of the bearish sentiment. So you can then, of course, you don't have to buy right away. You have to reevaluate the most voluminous and actively traded range. Most voluminous and most traded range. Okay. Now, 0.132. I think I already mentioned the volume review a while back. Okay, let's move on to TEL, PLDT. PLDT's last price is at 1144. Support is at 1127. Resistance is at 1387. There's a midterm resistance that I did not draw. It's somewhere here. There you go, 1234 if you will round it up. 1234, nice number, 1234. Okay, that's the midterm resistance. Now, this red candlestick came with a red volume that's almost 50% of its 10-day volume. Trading is not yet finished. There's a chance for TEL to register a volume either near or above its 10-day volume average. MACD, meanwhile, has already given us a sign of a formation of a bearish convergence with a signal line. Meaning to say, that's another point that supports the probability of TEL breaking down or testing the support at 1127. Okay? TEL has a low risk level. It has a volatility score of 29%. The price of TEL, FYI, it's already moving below the 200 and the 10-day simple moving averages. Its three moving averages are perfectly aligned in favor of, your guess is as good as mine, in favor of the bears. Okay. TEL. Closing price is at not yet close, but the last price is at 1,145. It's closer to it's the middle. It's the middle of today's trades. Okay. The range, the most voluminous and most traded range is between 1144 to 1149. 1144 all the way to 1149. My overall sentiment on TEL is bearish. Wait for a pullback near 1127. And if it touches 1127 and the volume is still above or equal to its 10-day volume average, then don't buy just yet. Wait for a deeper pullback, of course, below 1127. Again and again and again and again, entertain the idea of doing a test buy if, two reasons. If the downtrend happens with a volume that's already below the 10-day, 50% below the 10-day volume average, and if the most voluminous and most traded range is closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Memorize those two things. Write it on paper or print it, okay, and pin it in a corkboard. Okay, so you'll be reminded every day. Now, moving on to RRHI. By the way, we're not talking about long-term investing here, guys. This is short-term trading. This is the top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis for short-term traders, not for long-term investors. So, long-term investors, I'm not talking to you yet. Okay. Long-term investors, refer to the long-term investing table. It's on your dashboard. Okay. RRHI's last price is at 79 pesos a piece. Support is at 73.7. Resistance is at 82 pesos. The closing price or the last price of RRHI is below the 200-day and the 10-day simple moving averages. Bearish. The red candlestick comes with a red volume bar that's 50% below the 10-day moving average, or no, not moving average, but 10-day volume average. MACD remains bearish. No sign of a formation of a bullish convergence with the signal line, so it remains in a bearish direction. MACD. The 2019 net foreign sentiment for RRHI is bearish, net foreign selling. RRHI has a low risk level with a volatility score of 39%. 78.95, its last price is 78.95. It's closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. The most voluminous and most traded range is between, oh, it's quite challenging to spot a range here. There's only a standalone, or yeah, a standalone, a dominant price point. So I'm not going to give you a range now in the case of RRHI. I'm going to give you a strong or the most dominant price point, not range. And what it is? 79.15. This one got 86% of today's volume with 106 trades. Okay. The ongoing net foreign trade is a net foreign selling worth 11 million pesos. And my overall sentiment on RRHI in terms of short-term trading is bearish. Wait for a deeper pullback. Where? Close to 73.7? Well, ideally speaking, yes. Okay. So keep on monitoring. Stay on the sidelines. Busy yourself on being in a wait-and-see mode on RRHI for now. Okay. So there you go for my overall sentiment and recommendation for RRHI. MWC. MWC's last price is at 22.95. Support is at, let's see, where is the extended? Let me see the Fibonacci extension, so I can give you the support for MWC. Looks like it's quite deep. Let's change that. It's at 19.4. The next support is at 19.4. But before that, before we go to 19.4, it seems that RRHI has translated this support here, yesterday's closing price at near 22.7, as a support, because we are now seeing a green candlestick. And this green candlestick is already 50%, more than 50%. It's almost equal to its 10-day volume average, not to mention that we're not yet done for the day. So it's my sentiment that MWC might have already found a support near 22.7 is data driven. So there's proof here. Well, it's not a confirmation yet, but we can say we can say that as far as citing this line and the greenness, the color of the today's the color of today's candlestick is concerned. Okay, or are concerned, those two things. Okay. Meanwhile, the 2019 net foreign sentiment remains bearish. MACD remains bearish. Of course, this half-day green candlestick we cannot reverse immediately in a snap the position of MACD below the signal line. Of course, we're not expecting that anyway. Besides, take a look at this. RSI has already touched the classical value for the overbought, or not overbought, but oversold level. So it's possible that, so that's another validation to the hypothesis of MWC for the chance that it may have already indeed found a support near 22.7 or 22.6. So it's bouncing away from that level now. Okay. Anyway, MWC has a low risk level. It has a volatility score of 37%. Now, its last price of 22.95 is closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. The most voluminous and most traded range is between 22.9 to 23 pesos per share. My overall sentiment on MWC is neutral. Neutral. If it closes above the 10-day volume average and it remains green, then my neutral sentiment can become neutral to bullish. Take note of that. So review MWC around 330 or 331. Okay? And then if that happens, then you can consider doing a test buy. But of course, you have to reevaluate. What should you reevaluate? The range, the most voluminous and most traded range. What did I say about that? It should be closer to the intraday high than to the intraday low. That's the confirmation, or the scenario, or the condition that you need to satisfy, that should be satisfied before considering doing a test buy. Okay, next, SCC. Reminder, yesterday SCC It was SEC's ex-dividend date yesterday. That's why the price went down. Was it? Let's double check just to be sure. So I am on edge.pse.com. Oh yeah, I was right. Yesterday was the ex-dividend date of SCC. It gave out 1 peso and 25 centavo cash dividend. That yesterday was the ex-dividend date. The price went down because of dilution. It's the natural phenomenon during the ex-dividend date of a dividend issuing company. Google or search on YouTube what is dilution, so you can learn one vocabulary a day about the stock trading. Okay, dilution. How do you spell that? Dilution. Dilution. Okay, it's pronounced dilution, not delusion. Okay. Okay, I'm not teaching English here. Anyway, MACD remains bearish. Right. Okay. I think I'm done discussing MWC. So my overall sentiment is, I gave that to you already in my recommendation. Okay. I get sideways when I discuss that. I got sidetracked when I discussed that dividend. Anyway, going back. ZHI. ZHI, Zeus Holdings. Last price. Zeus Holdings' last price is 0.375. Its support is at 0.371. Resistance is at 0.408. So it's slightly above the immediate midterm support at 0.3715. Okay. This red candlestick came with little volume, small volume. So there's a probability for ZHI to just stay above the midterm support at 0.375. Not 375, but 0.3715 or 0.372 to round it up to the nearest three digits, 3 decimals, to the nearest thousandth. Okay, thousandth to be arithmetically correct. Okay. Now, MACD remains bearish. It continues its downtrend movement below the signal line. And foreign investors, there's not much that we can attribute to the net foreign sentiment. It's bearish. Anyway, their daily transactions are almost insignificant in value, in terms of value. Historical volatility of Z is 93%. It's a high risk stock already. Newbie traders, I'm talking to you. Stick with low to moderate risk stocks for now. Those stocks that have a volatility score between 0 to 70%. Ideally speaking, those with 0 to 50% volatility score. Those are the low risk stocks. Okay. Now ZHI, the last price of 0.375 is its intraday low as well. 0.38 got 60% of today's volume with 56 trades. So that's the price point that got the most voluminous and most traded range price point for today. So my overall sentiment on ZHI is neutral to bearish. Recommendation: sell once your stop loss has been hit. Trailing stop loss, not just the plain stop loss, but trailing. There's got to be the word trailing stop loss. Planning to enter a new position? No, not just yet. Monitor the price movement for now. Monitor it. Okay. I know monitoring is a boring thing, but if that's the one that can save you a lot of painful experiences, then do it at all cost. Okay. So there you go for my analysis, overall sentiment, and recommendations for the 10 stocks for March 28. In a few moments from now, I'll be recording a video for today's top 5 gainers and top 5 losers for March 29. Again, my name is JC De Guzman, your analyst here at Equalist Analytics. Have a great day. Thank you.